October 21st, Monday. This is our second meeting of the month. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could come on up here and lead us. I'm going to give you the microphone right here. Come right in front of me. I usually have different troops. I thank you so much. And the flag is right here, nice and loud for them.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And this is all recorded, so why don't you tell them your name?
I'm Olivia Behringer and my troop number is 755G.
Thank you very much.
I
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
So everybody, when you came in, you have the agendas into the right. I think most of you are frequent flyers in here, so you know what's going on. I'm going to call the meeting to order right now. And if we could do a roll call, Clerk Smith.
Mayor Turnbull.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Roski Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Janetti.
Here.
Councilmember Krenz.
Here. Great. We have a full quorum tonight. Before we begin, again, John, you know, you're in our hearts and prayers and the whole family. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you. We are here gathered in policies and procedures according to the governor in the state of Michigan, Open Meetings Act. So we record everything. So if you want to go back and listen to these, those are all available. And everything that's online, you can actually do comments right up to the time of the meeting. So everything is pretty easy. We've changed things around and we think we've got all the hiccups out of it now, don't we? Yep. Yes, that's correct. That's a good answer. Thank you very much. Duly noted. So yes, we're here tonight on that. First, I'm going to go to number 3, the approval of the agenda. You have the agenda in front of you, and this is a time if you want to add or delete. I think we have something to add, don't we, George?
Yes, Mayor. So we have a presentation from Parks and Recreation regarding the strategic plan. And in the event that council is able to adopt that at that point, we'd like to be able to add to new business item B.
Okay.
Consideration of the Northville Parks and Recreation Strategic Plan for 2025 through 2029. So you'll hear the presentation under special presentations, ask your questions. If council is satisfied, when we get to the item on the agenda, you just simply, if you're ready to go with it, make a motion and approve the adoption of the plan. That's your only role. If you're not comfortable at that point, we can defer it to a later date and you can have more discussion at a later date.
I am open. It looked pretty straightforward. Many of us read that.
Yeah, I move to approve the agenda as suggested for amendment.
Great. So we have a motion and support. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I think we can do this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. So now we're on public comment. If you're here to talk about something on the agenda, and there's only 2 things on the agenda here tonight. You just heard about the Parks and Recreation strategic plan. We will approve that. If you're here to talk about that, wait until that moment in time. The other one is consideration of the matter of application for a small winemaker, microbrewer on premises tasting room permit. So we'll talk a little bit about that here shortly. So those are the 2 things. If there's anything else on your mind tonight, this would be the time. Going once, going twice. Great, outstanding. I was going to say we might see some light, but it's getting dark really early these days. So good. So I'm closing off public comment at this point. We have anything that was written is in here. We didn't get anything at the last moment like we normally do.
We have one. There's one.
We have one, but not at the last.
Well, it came Sunday. It came Sunday.
Right, came in Sunday.
Right. So and it is written comments are in our board packet. Anything received before 4 p.m. is uploaded, and Michelle Massel uploaded that this afternoon. So.
And those online and you out in the audience, you can go right online and see everything and all the letters that are out there and everything on the consent agenda too. So it's all out there. So very good. Excellent. Let's go to number 5, consideration of approving the consent agenda. You have it. Everybody had it in your package. It's online. It's public knowledge. If there's anything to add or delete or to bring to the regular agenda, this would be the time. If not, I'm looking for a motion to go forward with the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Outstanding. So we have a motion out there. Do I have support for that motion? Support. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Good. We have a consent agenda. So now let's go to number 6, presentations. Presentation of Parks and Recreation Strategic Plan. This would be your time, Derek. Remember, everybody's online at home, nice and loud, and tell them all about the strategic plan, my friend.
Sure.
It's all yours.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Derek Smith. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation for Northville. And so many months ago, we went as a staff and stakeholders, we went on a journey to create Northville Parks and Recreation's first master plan in 20 years. This is something that revamping our mission, vision, strategic priorities, and really setting the groundwork for what our department should be, what it's going to become. And it kind of gives us a roadmap, not only from a leadership perspective, but also from its staff, commission, council, and board of trustee vantage point. So I'm going to do a quick presentation on the process of how we went through the strategic plan, give you an idea what our objectives are, and then I'll open it up for questions. So the vital role of parks and recreation in our world, a lot of people from a very minuscule idea think that we pretty much run baseball, soccer leagues, and we do some programming here and there. But I'm here to tell you that our priorities are much deeper than that. So understanding the importance of why we strategic plan and discovering really why we do what we do. And one of the things that I brought here 15 months ago when I started was getting people to have a deeper understanding of our why. Sure, that subsurface is programming and events, but what kind of purpose do we serve to the community from a health and wellness perspective, economic impact perspective, and then from an environmental conservation perspective? Go ahead. So here is our strategic planning process. As I just mentioned, the first thing we wanted to do was understand our why and how those match up with the pillars of Parks and Recreation. The National Recreation and Park Association has 3 pillars in which they focus all their principles on, as I just mentioned: health and wellness and social equity, economic prosperity, and environmental conservation. So from that point, we looked at each of the 3 divisions we have in Parks and Recreation and got a better understanding of what the roles of those 3 divisions should be. Currently, there's only 2 divisions, Parks and Recreation, but we also have a very strong senior division too, which in the future, we are looking to make that its own subdivision of the department out from underneath of recreation to put more importance on our senior population. Through that, we discovered our 3 new guiding principles, which are to create, connect, and inspire. We discussed our core values as a department and as professionals. We revamped our mission and vision statements, and then we did a SWOT analysis, not only with the staff, but with city council, our board of trustees at the township, our commissions, and other stakeholders also had an opportunity to weigh in on what we do really well, what we don't do really well, and then threats that we see coming down the pipeline if we continue in our current state. So from there, we analyzed the data from that SWOT analysis and came up with our strategic priorities, went into plan development and then goals and strategies for the staff, and moved that into an action plan. And we're going to be assigning individuals within our department each one of those strategies to make sure that the department stays focused and on task. So we'll be meeting on it regularly. And one of the things that I think is important to know is our strategic plan is really going to have a focus on staff and accomplishing those strategies within the plan. A lot of times we have a large department, 12 full-time people, many permanent part-time, and then our seasonal staff. And a lot of times, even myself as a younger professional, I'd get bogged down in just my day-to-day responsibilities, and I didn't feel like I was helping the department overall help push the ball downfield. So what we do from here is we'll take these strategies, we will blend them into the performance reviews of our staff. And so they have a bigger feeling of purpose towards the overall goals of the department and not just their individual job performances. We want our entire team to have a firm understanding of this document and how each one of them in their daily routines help the department accomplish its overall goals. So mission and vision statements, our mission to inspire and cultivate vibrant community by providing dynamic parks and recreation opportunities that foster connections, enhance quality of life, and promote community well-being. Our vision for the future is in envisioning Northville as a transformative community model of economic and social well-being, living in harmony with its celebrated natural environment. And one of the things that we really noticed, that I've really noticed since I've been here, is with our county park system, our state park system, and we are getting ready to double our acreage as far as our local park system between the city and the township. We are going from 356 acres to over 700 acres of parkland in our local park system. So we really are at a part where we came up with the tagline of Northville as a community within a park. Our tree canopy here is incredible. We have a historic downtown. We have 3 huge park systems between local, county, and state. And the idea of people living within the environment itself really lends to people being more focused on that conservation piece that we as a department need to start getting a little stronger at. We've been working with a lot of the groups here with the riverfront and a lot of the ideas that we have, and people just see it as aesthetically pleasing visually, but the real importance is how it affects our environment and the environment that we live in and providing a quality of life through those environmental features. The 6 strategic priorities that were identified were creating a culture of excellence for the staff. We really strive to push our professionals to be the best they can be, not only internally, but we also want them to focus on getting involved at the state level and getting into other areas of parks and recreation outside of Northville so they can bring those innovative and great ideas back to us here. Foster economic vitality and fiscal responsibility. We currently are at a 45% cost recovery as a department. And what that means is if you take our contributions away from the township and the city side of things and just look at the revenue that we bring in, we recover almost 46, 47% of our cost. Going into next year, you may or may not know, we have a huge budget increase that really is, a lot of it is forged from our millage through the township. Even with that additional money, we will still be at almost 40% cost recovery. The national average is 25%. So we're still doing a really good job of increasing our revenues and not just asking for taxpayer reimbursement for what we do. We're actually starting to operate on a better business model and really look at how our revenues come in and how we can capitalize on that. We support standards of excellence in current, future parks, facilities, and management practices. As you may or may not have noticed, one of the first things we did almost a year ago now is our community centers were only open for limited hours during the day. We are now open a full business day at each one of the centers from 8 until 4:30 in the afternoon. It's just a better service model for our residents, and that's just one example of the things that we're looking to change. So champion environmental stewardship and conservation, as I mentioned, all the projects we have going on. I know with a lot that we have going on just here at the Downs project with Central and River Parks and daylighting the river and the new culvert that's going in. But we're also looking at Legacy Park in the township for reforestation and management of invasive species. We're doing a ton of work. We have almost 50 acres of invasive species on that property that need to be mitigated. So that's the first thing we need to do before we can develop anything in that park. Excellence in inclusive, diverse, and innovative programs and services, community enhancement and well-being kind of speaks for itself. We're really taking an internal look at our programs, finding out which ones need to be retired and find out where we belong in the market space where things are not being programmed to, what services aren't being offered to the residents, and how can we fill those service gaps. And then lastly, deliver exceptional marketing and communication. Our new Park Life magazine is in print twice a year, and we're now doing a third round that's a digital copy right before school comes out to get into the parents' kind of inbox and let them know all the wonderful programs they can sign their kids up for during the fall and into the school year. And then also a communication internally and externally. Right now, because we are a joint department between the city and the township, that communication piece is even more important to make sure we keep everybody on the same page for what we're doing as a department. And I think that's about it. Lastly, is the last slide is just kind of what our next steps are. I talked to you a little bit about the action steps of the staff. We do have a branding RFP that's out on the street right now. We are looking to not only reface the department visually, but we also want the language from the strategic plan to be spoken in all of our marketing materials. So everything that I just covered, in particular, the 3 pillars of recreation and what we provide to this community, will now get spoken as a language through all of our materials so we can start to educate the public a little bit more on why we need their support to continue to enhance the lives, not only our residents, but our visitors too. One of the first things we would like to do is get all new park signs, city and township wide, our curbside appeal with all of our parks. Our park signs are old. They're all kind of falling apart. They're made of wood and they're kind of degrading right in front of our eyes. So one of the first things we would like to do is get new roadside signage for all the parks and at least put a new face from the curbside of the better things that are come behind it. So that's where we are. I know that we got the plan out to the entire council so you could review it at your leisure. Willing to take any questions if anybody has any.
And we're going to put that on the agenda for approval. First, let me start. I thank you so much. It started about 1.5 years ago that Supervisor Abel and myself, I'm the vice chair of Parks and Rec, wanted to look at the future. We're doing all these things in the city, whether it's river walks and Ford Field and parks, as you mentioned, down at the Downs. We wanted to make sure we put the city parks connected to the township, to the county parks, to the state parks. We have a plan, and you were part of the future of that plan, and you and the entire team, thank you so much for bringing this together. We're all moving really quick. We appreciate you and I keep trying to get together for breakfast. We just call each other on different things. I thank you for the pace. I thank you for bringing the team members in and for pushing the whole community. So done an outstanding job. And I met with Abel this morning. We talked about the future together and what we're doing, and we're doing even more things together that Parks and Rec will be part of. So
it's an exciting time to be here.
It is an exciting time. So that's all I have. Any questions or observations?
I just thank you. I love some of the stuff you do with your staff. You can tell because I go to meetings with several of them and they're enthused and excited and they know what they're talking about and it's nice. So good job.
Absolutely.
I know that's not easy, but
thank you.
Yeah, I'm a Parks and Recs commissioner, as you know, and I've just seen a wonderful transformation. We always had a good Parks and Rec, but I see it going to excellence, and this shows what direction you're heading. And I think it's wonderful, fully support it. The health and wellness, social, those pillars that are the guidepost as well as pillars moving forward are just excellent. In particular, with the amount of land we have and will have under Parks and Rec, the environmental conservation is very, very important. And that was just a missing component before. Just wasn't there. You know, it's not just mowing soccer fields or something.
It's almost unbelievable going from 50 acres not too long ago to 750 acres, you know, it is quite something.
So I just am very grateful for all the effort that went into this. And I think it's an excellent document. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Derek, a couple of questions. Yeah, I'm going to co-sign on everything else there. Long-term, what are your thoughts on an indoor field house of some kind or some kind of indoor facility?
Yeah, that's a great question because one of the things that we've really been working on is that service gap model that I had mentioned earlier. We are devoid of a lot of things in this community, and it's not just me saying this. We have through NRPA, we have what's called park metrics. And what they'll do is they compare us with like communities across the country, and they'll let you know how many acres of parkland you should have per resident, how many basketball courts, how many pickleball courts, how many miles of trails you should have. And one of the things that we're severely behind on is indoor court space and indoor field space. we're in those conversations right now on how we can make that happen. We have a few other stakeholders in the community that are also interested. And it's very ground level conversations right now, but we have identified the need. We're bursting at the seams at our two community centers. And not more than 2 months ago, our neighbor in Novi sent out an email to their entire database and said that we are no longer taking non-resident registrations until 2 weeks. They now have a residents-only registration period for their programs. So they're starting to turn our residents away in their programs because our service model lacks on our side. So we're starting to look at what we have to do to fill that void so we can serve our residents with all the wonderful amenities they should have and how we can make that a reality. But identifying the problem or identifying the need is the first step. The second step is how do we make this sort of thing happen? And I know that we have many partnered organizations that are interested. I know I've talked to many school board members that are interested. It's just a matter of how do we make it happen?
We are getting there. This is the
Yeah.
first step. We are looking at that second step, and Derek and the strategic plan and the entire team is looking, how do we get there in a year, 2 years from now, so we can be competitive with anybody.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, that's not a critique. I'm just
Yep,
thinking
yep.
about the next big thing
Yep.
No,
that-
it's,
And
under your stewardship that will
yeah, and I,
take a look at.
so long look back into history, and Derek knows this, is a little more than 20 years ago, almost 25 now. When I was in private sector doing public sector consulting, I did a survey for, they called it not a field house, it was a recreation center. So,
right.
and it was on the topic of Parks and Rec. It wasn't the only question, but it was a major component. And probably like now, everybody wants one. But then I wove in questions about funding it and what levels they'd want to fund, from a taxpayer perspective,
Sure.
and they didn't want to pay for it. So I really am heartened to hear looking at building partnerships to be able to do that.
Yep.
Because it is a very costly endeavor, needed, but a costly endeavor.
So is that an example of that? Would that be what's happening at Ward next year with the pickleball facility? Or is that not a good?
Well, yes and no.
It's private.
It is a
Private.
private, and there will be a need that's serviced, but I caution you, because I've lived this experience, is if you don't provide your residents with services at a cost that they would like to pay or can afford, a commercial business comes in and opens up, and then everybody pays 5 times more.
Agree.
Right.
And it happened to me in Brighton. Legacy Center came in. I had 1,000 kids in soccer, 1,000 in baseball. And that's great for everybody that can afford it, and they want the sticker on their car no matter how good their kid is. Half of them aren't good enough to be on a travel team, but you can afford to pay for your child to be on a travel team.
Let it go.
The unfortunate side of that is the people that can afford to play still have a program.
Mhm.
The people that can't afford to pay are now without a program.
Yeah, and then my one last question,
That's-
because you're touching on exactly what I was going to go is, and it's not for this, but it's just an ongoing question, is in terms of rec league and, the kids that can't afford travel, is engaging enough people to be coaches. And, I know every summer baseball, it's a struggle to find enough dads even to have a team or assistant coaches. And it's really kind of sad in this town that we just can't get there to have like those coaches in place. I don't know. It's not for this document, but it's something I see every year, and it just kind of breaks your heart a little bit.
Yeah, from someone who's coached every sport on the planet, I get it.
Yeah.
And even our staff, when we can't find coaches, our staff goes out and coaches teams, so we fill that void. But we're working on ways to make that experience more comfortable for parents to coach, giving them the tools they need to run proper practices, teach fundamentals, get our kids better at sports. The whole idea, and I'm a baseball guy, so I use it as a reference. The first time a kid gets a base hit, the first time that kid throws someone out of first base, because you've given them the proper fundamental tools to get to that point, they're hooked for life.
Yep.
But you have to teach them the fundamentals the proper way to be able to make that play.
I'm with you 100%. No,
So
thank you
that's-
for taking my question.
Yeah,
You're doing great work.
John,
Yeah, I mean, like usual, when you go last with this group, there's less to cover. But I will echo Councilmember Krenz's comments, and it's probably respective of our age or the age of our children. Because frequently, one of the biggest comments I hear is we have amazing sports programs, but how do we compete when there's year-round programs for baseball, for track, for soccer within other communities? And then those programs end up growing and becoming kind of all fulfilling. So, you know, as someone who coaches as well, I think that is an opportunity that would be embraced within the community. It recognized it's a large capital outlay and we would need to figure out partnerships and a pretty dynamic strategy. But
The hard-
in general, I think there's a universal support. I mean, I don't think we need to.
Yes.
Well, the hardest thing is if you have a child that is serious or wants to compete at that level, in order for them to participate 12 months out of the year, like most sports are now, you have to drive 40 minutes outside of Northville to get there.
Yep.
And that, I benefited from that because my hockey team in Heartland, we had some of our best players were from Northville the 6 years that I was coaching there. So, and I've had lots of conversations with the varsity hockey coach here, and a couple of my kids are now on his team, so you're welcome.
So that's one. And again, I mean, we're taking a track team to Farmington and Orchard Lake. So I fully appreciate that. And I think it does limit opportunities for participation. So love the fact that that's on everyone's agenda. I also, as a guy who loves structure, I did read the action plans within. There's a lot of phenomenal content in there. So I just wanted to express appreciation for the amount of detail and work that went into building that out, because I know that doesn't just happen. And I know there's vision behind each one of those items. And then the last is just when we talk about going up to 700 acres, the opportunities that represents when we think about the conversation we were just having, but also just the feel of the community as a whole and our conservation, our parkland, the impact it has. That's a generational change. So kudos, and it's a really exciting thing for all of us that live in Northville.
Thank you for your leadership on that. Time, energy, and money. It just takes that to get it all done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hang on. Is there anybody from the audience? Any comments on this? Going once, going twice? Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We will circle back on the agenda to approve the strategic plan here in a minute. So now we're going to go to public hearings. I think Joe Lynn, we have a public hearing on consideration of authorization of the 2025 Oakland County CDBG funds. And I think we're using it up at Allen. Go right ahead.
It's back again this year, the application for Oakland County CDBG. As usual, it is 7,000. The past 2 years, we've done common area flooring, which we're planning on replacing all the carpet in the hallways. So we're going to continue that this year, asking for more funds for the hallways. So the plan basically is last 2 years might be like first, second floor. This will be third.
Okay.
And then depending on the cost of it, we'll either eat the fourth floor or next year we'll finish the application process for the fourth floor. We have a lot of flooring left over from the apartments. So we're actually going to use that vinyl flooring for like the pool table room and the laundry room and those type of rooms. So that the rest of that flooring will be used, and then we'll save some for any necessary repairs that we may have to do. So it matches as well. The CDBG Oakland County application process requires us to have this public hearing and to hear any public comments on the proposed uses of program year 2025 funds. The city of Northville anticipates receiving approximately $7,000 to fund my project. The city of Northville found that the following projects meet the federal objectives of the CDBG program and are prioritized by the community as a high priority need. I already mentioned the common area flooring and $7,000. So any questions?
So I will open it up to a public hearing right now on that. First, I want to thank you for all you're doing for the seniors. We all hear it. John is in charge of the seniors up there at Allenton. And I get a little bit of that, but you have done a phenomenal job. We have workout equipment. You have redone the flooring there. You have doors, you know, their bathtubs or whatever, the commons area during COVID. They are pretty happy right now. We have to keep progressing and stay ahead of the curve. The wave is always there. we don't have to be on the bleeding edge or cutting edge, but we have to be on that wave of.
We're getting there, and we
changing
have the
things
new
around.
elevators coming soon too, so.
So you're doing a
lots
great
going on.
job, you and John. Thank you, John, for, handling all the Allen Terrace. We love the Allen Terrace people. I go up there and talk history. I'd rather do that than this
I saw the video.
municipal stuff. Thank you very much. So thank you. I am opening it up right now. If anybody has comments from the public, this is a first official public hearing. Any comments? Going once? Going twice? I am closing the public comments, the public hearing on this. So we did what you asked us to do. So now I'd like a motion to adopt the resolution. I believe you have it in your package. So if somebody would go forward.
I
with
move that the
resolution.
city council adopt a resolution, attachment A, authorizing the use of prior year 2025 Oakland County Community Development Block Grant funds as proposed.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do I have support for that
I'll
motion?
support
Okay,
it.
we have support. Any other discussion?
Program year, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's a good,
program
That
year.
correct?
yeah,
Program
friendly
year.
edit or
Okay.
friendly amendment accepted.
Accepted.
From-
I support that too.
Thank you very much. No other discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Sorry.
Good.
Oh,
Thank you.
You have your motion.
75%.
Get that money, start doing it. Number two, I think, Mike, you are up, consideration of approving a resolution to vacate the remaining portion of the Griswold right away. Tell us about that over by Katie.
Yep, in front of you is a release of easement resolution for Griswold Street. For most most streets have right of ways. Some have smaller than most. Most common are about 50 to 60 feet here in the city. Some of our streets don't even have designated right of ways, which means it's just city owned property on adjacent sides of it. Church Street, not Church Street, part of Hutton Street is actually part of that.
Right.
But for this here, Griswold Street, the west side of the road, there is no designated right of way.
So,
So during the PUD process with the development, it's been discussed that we will straighten that right away, get that line figured out.
Okay.
It'll be a 60-foot right of way for
Right.
Griswold. And then the portion that is left over, it'll be vacated and then given over to the developer to develop on. With that being said, there's other portions of the property throughout the process, the development, where we will be getting property from the developer. So if you look at one of the attachments, attachment A is a perfect one. You can see on the north side of it, you see existing right away and then the new adjusted one. There's a sliver there that we'll be getting from the developer for the construction of this. That portion you will see later on throughout the process. They'll be bringing that to us when they designate Hutton Street and Peel
Yep.
and the Central Park
That's what
as
I
city-owned
wanted.
property.
you'll be
So,
getting some of that back.
one big question is, why are we giving away city property? When you look at the big chunk of just the northern portion, which is Beale Street and north,
Right.
it's about 10 acres there. After you're looking at all the property that they're dedicating to the city as city streets, right away, parks, it's down to 8. So they're giving up almost 2 acres of property to the city.
Great.
So in front of you is just it's a little sliver. We're going to
You
straighten
all
it.
have that on map in front of
Yep.
you and it's on.
We're going to straighten it out the right of way.
Yeah.
The east side of the road is fine. We're working on the west side of the road right now.
Oh, I have it in front of me.
Oh, you have a hard copy. Look
Yeah.
at you. Pretty much, but
Thanks.
excellent.
Well, when it comes to releasing of property, vacating, it's up to city council to approval
Right.
and a public hearing, which was last meeting it was dedicated for today.
And the river park is about what, 10.3 acres and we have the acre and a half behind.
Yep.
Presby Church and we're going to be getting other
That's part of
pieces
it
in
too.
here
Yep.
too. Okay, got you. Good. So any questions for those on council? Okay. Any questions? Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that.
That's
I'm opening up. This is another public hearing. Usually it's just public comment, but this is a public hearing. If you have anything to say on this, this would be the time. Going once. Going twice. I am closing off the public hearing. You have had your public hearing on this.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. So going forward then, we have a motion in your package to go forward with this little sliver that we believe we're going to get more back. I know we've got a lot before. But,
Yes.
so I'm looking for that motion to go forward on the table.
Mayor, I move to adopt attached resolution to vacate the remaining portions of Griswold between East Katy and Beal that is outside of the new established right of way as shown in attachment A.
Great. So we have a motion. Do we have support for this motion tonight?
I'll support.
Okay, we have support. Any other discussion? I think we can do this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. You have the motion.
Thank you
Go
very
right ahead, you bet. Okay, let's move on to unfinished business. We finished all of it. Surprise, surprise. Let's see, new business. We have something. We've added, remember the consideration for the Parks and Rec, B, I know that. So A will be the consideration of the matter of the application of the small winemaker, microbrewer on premises tasting room. And who would like to, that'd be you, Chief. Twisted Cork.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Tonight before you is the application from Mr. David Bartman, who is here tonight, or David Barton. He is the current owner of the Twisted Cork Winery in South Lyon, and he is looking to move here to City of Northville at 184 East Main Street. That is the old design du jour building, Mr. Long's building. So he has applied for a new small winemaker license, a microbrewer license, an on-premise tasting room permit, social district permit, and an outdoor seating permit. He did submit all of the required applications per our ordinance. And we did hold a liquor license review committee before this meeting tonight. And just a little background on the application and business that he is presenting. It will be called as well the Twisted Cork Winery, the same name. They'll be operated as a winery while offering a few beer selections. There'll be food snack options with no cooked items on the menu. I did include a sample menu from his South Lyon location in your packet. The alcohol to food ratio is approximately 70% alcohol sales to 30% food sales. The hours of operation will be as follows: Tuesday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday, 12 p.m. Saturday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday from noon to 6 p.m. Last call will be 30 minutes before closing and last service will be 20 minutes before closing. The establishment will serve and sell wine that is manufactured on premise and off premise. Additionally, non-alcoholic drinks such as sodas and mocktails will be served as well. There may be some live entertainment such as an acoustic guitar, possibly on Sundays. There'll be televisions as well to view sporting events and other events.
That's my question.
The applicant is aware of our entertainment ordinance and agrees to adhere to the provisions of that ordinance. The business will also have a good-sized retail space that displays wine-related items for sale. The staffing of the establishment will consist of a wine specialist, server, shift leads. There'll also be one winemaker on premise. And the parking for that will be public, but there is some other Jim Long owns a couple spots there from his building that can be utilized as well. We spoke after the first LLRC meeting. The square footage of that building is approximately 2,300 square feet. The capacity is approximately 62 persons. Approximately 75% of the square footage is dedicated to the patron area. The remaining space will encompass the fermentation room, bathroom, and storage area. There is no dance floor. The interior of the establishment seats approximately 40 patrons. The bar area seating will seat 15 patrons. There are 4 high top tables that will seat 2 patrons at each table. 5 seats will be located near the main street entrance along the window, and the remaining seating will be traditional dining tables. There is a map also in your packet of the interior, which shows a rough diagram of that seating. The applicant also plans to have outdoor seating area in the near future, but that is yet to be determined. But we did mention most likely on Main Street. To talk about, there was some discussion about the fermentation process at the LLRC meeting. The fermentation room located at the establishment is on site and will be operating during non-business hours unless it is needing during business hours. Sounds like a very simple process. There's no really machinery or anything. It's just the fermentation in the container. There is an odor with the fermentation, but it is I'd say describe it, kind of a light fragrance, but really no issues. It's actually a very, very nice.
Is that a professional?
Yeah, sure. So.
All the birds come from miles around.
Right.
Okay, good, good,
Yeah.
good.
And
Duly
then,
noted. Thanks.
There's no hazardous waste produced as part of the fermentation process, and I'll have Mr. Barton explain that a little more
Good.
to you. Like I said before, the LLRC met earlier, and they did recommend that his application move forward without any objection. It should be noted that Mr. Barton's location in South Lyon has been open since 2021. He does not have any MLCC violations at all. And there was nothing revealed in a background investigation that would prevent this application from moving forward. It should be noted that he's coming to us first for local approval. And he's also applied with MLCC as well, and we're waiting for that, or he's waiting for that approval as well. We couldn't find any reason to object to it and recommend the approval of his application. And Mr. Barton, you can step up for any questions.
And with that
council may
too,
have.
I know that Jim and John and Andrew, you were there, nothing extraordinary, all good. I actually attended most of that meeting. So anything from
Yeah, I
your
would,
standpoint?
as
before we
was
get the-
noted, LLRC found no reasons for council to object. As the chief referenced, background check was clean, no MLCC violations, and we did have a discussion on the manufacturing operations, which is a aggressive term for what seems like a very light process that will have no impact on.
Big automotive guys, you're thinking they're manufacturing big.
Well, yeah. We took it and ran with it, but
Good.
no, there was a unanimous support amongst the LLRC to move forward.
Good.
Yep.
Jim, anything to add to that? Thanks. It's all yours.
All right, well, just thanks, thank you guys for your consideration tonight. I just want to let you guys know that Northville is one of our most favorite cities. And we hope we can be part of the community.
Welcome.
We'll have to vote on this, but welcome a little early. Good. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Good. So that is new
It's a
business.
bit of a spoiler, Mayor.
I know. Spoiler alert. Is there any other comments from,
I just have a
go right ahead,
nerdy technical question.
please do.
So not too long ago in the city, we went through the ordinance change for entertainment. And one of the things that I'm glad, when I hear some acoustic or music there, that's wonderful. I had music on the front, because I thought there was something, that there also is something that just a one-time application to for MLCC for music.
For
Well,
the
it's called
in
entertainment.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Entertainment dance.
Okay, so they're applying for
Yeah,
that
so
as
that's, so
well
that's
as,
part of the process, just a little checkbox.
okay, and that's
Just in
all
case
it
they want to
is.
do it. Right.
Yeah, because it's
Okay.
not onerous or expensive.
Yep.
It's
Oh,
just, yeah. All right, great. Look forward to it.
Anybody else?
Now, all their
Under twisted
permit
course.
licenses align with what they do in South Line, correct?
Good.
Chief?
We need you.
And are you continuing South Line? Are you moving? Yeah, you don't go too far yet. Sorry.
We're not done with you yet.
And then anybody in public? Are you continuing South Line or are you moving the
We are
South Line
continuing
operation?
South Line.
Okay,
Oh,
Yes,
great.
thank
my
you.
background is multi-unit management.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Nothing wrong. with that.
When is your schedule?
That's where it was, yeah.
Sorry.
We would aspire to open January 1st, but
Okay.
the licensing is really the long.
And you have some meetings to go and get that landlord.
We do, and we
going
have a site approval and some other meetings
Great.
we have to go through.
Well, it's a cold winter,
Good.
so we'll
Yep, get it going.
warm up with
We
wine.
like our wine in Northville, so we're ready for it. Good, thank you. Is there any comments from those in the audience tonight? Going once, going twice, got thumbs up from the back.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you so
did
much.
all over.
Okay, I'm closing off public comment. So I'm looking for in your package, a motion to go forward with this application.
I move to approve the resolution approving the request by the applicant for a new small winemaker microbrewer on premises tasting room permit, social district permit, and outdoor seating permit to be issued to Twisted Cork Winery Northville LLC, doing business as Twisted Cork Winery, located at 184 East Main Street, Northville, Michigan, 48167.
Support.
Good, we have a motion, properly support. Any other discussion? We can do this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Northville. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good. Woo. My wife will be very happy. Okay, so let's go on to number 2. We added B, the consideration of the strategic plan for Parks and Rec right now. Would you like to read that
So-
motion?
It's very straightforward. Council can simply move to adopt the Northville Parks and Recreation Strategic Plan for 2025 through 2029, if that's their preference. If you have any questions, obviously you heard the presentation and got a chance to review the plan in detail. If you would like to make that motion tonight, or if you want further discussion, we can move that to a future date.
I'd like to move what you just said, but I think we need public comment first. Don't.
So, yep, and then we'll take a vote and see if we'll move it or not. Any public comment on that tonight? I know you've already had a lot of public comment. You heard it from when we went through the Parks and Rec. Going once, going twice. Okay, I'm holding off public comment. From my standpoint, I've read it and others have read it. I'm comfortable with it. I know I'm the vice chair of whatever, the Parks and Rec. We've looked at it. I think a lot of thoughtfulness has gone into this. I am comfortable to go forward with it tonight and to vote on it, and I will bring that motion forward. So moved. But
Yeah, well, before, I would just like to say that I was really grateful that we had advance notice. We received this well in advance. So we were
So good
really
reading
able to look it over and give it a close read versus just having to, it was
absolutely,
really, I appreciated that.
it was.
So I'm very
Thank you.
comfortable with the document.
Great. So do you have the motion that?
You already said it.
I did.
Yeah.
So moved.
Oh, you-
As we went. I did the motion. I'm looking for support of
I
that motion.
support.
We have support. I think we can do this. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? You have your motion. Go
Derek.
right for it. Thanks, Derek. Appreciate all you're doing there. So let's go to number 10, Mayor and Council Communications. We've had just fantastic weather over this past month. We thought the largest gathering known to mankind was the Victorian Festival. Then it just got bigger with Skeletons Alive. And just this past weekend, things going on from the Witches Night Out to the Philharmonic downtown to, if you were at the mill race, they had the trick or treating for the kids. Outstanding this weekend. And it just keeps combining. This coming weekend is the streets for treats, whatever, with all the kids. There'll be thousands of kids down there. Come out to Norfolk. It's the Norman Rockwell Halloween, I always say. It's gotten better and better since we were all younger, many years ago. When we shut down all the streets, we live just a couple blocks that way. We have about 400 kids. The time you get to Dunlap and Main Street, you have thousands of kids. It's outstanding just to walk around. Come to downtown Norfolk. We have been doing things at City Hall for almost 60 years, looking at giving things away, popcorn and apples and cider and the whole bit. We've started that up back then and everybody has embraced it. So I encourage you, bring the grandkids, bring the kids. If you don't have it, just walk around Norfolk, be part of that ambiance. It's why we're here in Norfolk. Parks and Rec is involved, like I said, city involvement. And I am unbelievably surprised up and down Main Street and Dunlap. It's like going to Disney World. Everybody has all their stuff out there. It's something. So engage, get out here. Again, appreciate all that each and every one of you do to make Norfolk that special place that you want to sell all that wine here in the future. So it is a destination out there. So that's all I have. Enjoy Halloween. Remember, it's 6 to 8 o'clock at night. The siren will go off at 6 and go off again at 8. That's when we do it. So enjoy. Anything else from council members?
There is a lot on the consent agenda and there's a lot of staff work involved in what went in. It's
Absolutely.
important items on the consent agenda, were just more administrative in nature. So one, I just want to say thank you for all the work that went into cameras and approving upcoming events like the lighted parade and the greens market. And there's just a lot that goes into bringing that to us for approval, even though we do it with one sweep and it's a lot of work for them. In particular, I want to thank Chief Maciag. We had a traffic control order in our consent agenda, and that was to restrict semis from going down Church Street. So I think that'll make life easier on everybody, including blocking traffic, knocking out light poles and all kinds of
Now
stuff.
they have to
with
obey that
semis.
too, of course.
Yeah, so I want to appreciate what went into that as well and getting that up there. Common sense did not prevail, but hopefully.
Thank you, Andrew, and others for
But
bringing some
yeah,
of that to our
but a
attention.
sign will make a difference. So thank you so much for that.
Excellent. Anybody else tonight? John?
Yeah, I just wanted to express my appreciation for all of the love and support that all of you have showed me and my family since the passing of my son Declan. This has been an incredibly difficult time, but I've learned a lot about the importance of community. And Northville really is a special place, and we are so lucky to have you all in our lives. So thank you.
Thank you, John. You're loved by all of us. Thank you. Anybody else?
Just hard to follow, but a couple things. I hope you guys like Halloween because October, it's Halloween Town USA here. So get ready for that.
yeah.
Norman.
And to build on, Mayor, a new event that maybe hopefully takes off is the 25th. So that'll be the Friday before Halloween. Sean Riley Band will be playing at the
Oh,
Marquee
yeah, I
Theater.
forgot to say. That's right.
Adult costume party.
That'd be
And I have
next
come to
weekend,
find
wouldn't
out my wife is going to be at the Justin Timberlake concert, so I'll be left unsupervised at the
boy.
concert. So look out.
Thank you for reminding us.
And then
for you, John
also for anybody on the call here, we're in that closed down area. I call it the Halloween district on Linden Court. If you're here,
It's wild.
just tell me full-size candy bar comes your way that you are here tonight. So if you're here, stop by. I'll be part of the Beetlejuice show that's on.
Oh, it
Linden
is
Court.
amazing
So
setup.
come on by and really enjoy it. There's nothing like it. That's it.
Yeah, 3 of us are in the historic district, so it's wonderful.
George, it's all yours.
Just one quick item. People may know we're in the midst of a mayor coffee with council. We had one last week at the Exchange, had good attendance and good discussion. We have one more coming up Thursday, November 21st at 6:30. So we're trying some evening hours, we're trying some daytime. So feel free to drop in and talk to council members. That day we have Andrew Krenz and John Carter joining us. I'll be there as well. And that will be at Los Tres Amigos. So we move around to different places to try to give different places of field to get residents sort of into the downtown and also, of course, us coming out into the community instead of having people just come to City Hall. So hopefully you can join us for coffee with council. After that, we have one, we take December off because it's a bad time to meet. Sort of people got a lot going on. And we'll be back at it January 9th at Sweet Brew and Spice. So we look on the web for that, but we hope to see people at Coffee with Council. It's informal conversation. You don't need any questions. If you want to just come and listen or jump in with questions, certainly have your council members have a chance to talk more one-on-one with a small group. Thank you.
Great. And we do mayoral town halls about every quarter. We can't have 3 of us in the same room at the same time talking about the same thing. So that's why there's 2 council members at all times. So come to those, come to the council member activities. That's where all the information is from the council. So we'll go from there. So I'm looking for a motion for adjournment tonight. Do we have that motion?
So moved.
Support. Any other discussion? I know there's not. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Boom.